go back for election day anyway. So I will see if I can find a radio, and before I bring it, before I send it up there, I'll bring it over and visit with Alan. We'll make sure that the thing doesn't hum and whistle a tune before we deliver it.
I already tested this one on simplex, and I can hear the hum on simplex. So I don't know that there's a tone problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have another radio, so we can work out something. That's not a problem.
Great, thank you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Okay.
We can hear you.
Got you now, Rusty.
Yeah, when I first came in, it said there was a problem with my mic. And I had to, it was switched to the right one, but I had to change it to the same as system audio, and it started working, so.
Oh, okay. No, your audio is great this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll say good morning to Robert from Pembroke. I see your shack background. And we got Doug from that coming in. That's for Judy. Doug from Lively, I think you're in, Doug, now. So excellent. Well, we'll let a few more roll in here. Indeed.
Well, cheers, everyone. Am I coming in okay?
You're fine, Doug. Yeah, you sounded good.
Your video is frozen, though. We just see you and you're not moving. LOL. Ha ha.
Yeah, just my picture there. No,
I gotcha. I was goofing.
Up again.
Yeah, that's the Lively look.
Well,
Yeah.
it's Windows 10 look that doesn't work with my camcorder, or what do you call it? Webcam.
Webcam. Yep. That's amazing the way you can speak and your lips don't move. There.
I know. Yeah, I think he's another whatchamacallit there.
Well,
Jeff
he's
Dunham.
the puppet,
Jeff
right?
Dunham.
Oh no,
A ventriloquist.
Yeah, you need to put a dummy up there and move his mouth.
I do got a dummy. He's right there. He's in the other picture. It says Rusty.
I mean a wooden one, not a flesh and blood one.
Oh shit.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Robert.
Morning, Robert. There you are. You were blurry for a sec.
Yeah, it's my autofocus on my camera.
Are you feeling okay though? You're not feeling blurry?
It's too bad you have to go all the way back to Pembroke before we can see you, you know.
I know.
Yeah. You're just down the street, and yeah, the club hasn't got together. Anyway, just a couple of quick things while we still have a couple of more people rolling in. Here comes Frank. Next week, I am not going to be here. We're going, I have a celebration of life. My cousin's son had passed away from cancer. So I'm going down to Southern Ontario. I'm also going to visit my brother at the same time in Milton. The service is in Burlington next Saturday. So I'm leaving after I get home from the court on Friday. So there won't be any Zoom on next Saturday. So you got a weekend off and that. So maybe you can find something else to do or whatever, but we'll resume it the following Saturday. So just to let everyone know that way. And just before we get started, I kind of consider these like a club meeting or a get together and that with everyone. What I would like to do out of a show and respect, I can almost guarantee everybody here in this screen knew exactly what they were doing 20 years ago this morning. Around 10 o'clock, for sure. And that, so as you know, it is 9/11 today, September 11th, 2021, which is 20 years ago from 2001. And I know there's all kinds of memorial services. So out of respect for all the people that lost their lives and the tragedy that occurred not only affected our great neighbors to the south in the U.S., but elsewhere around the world too. It changed the world that day. It absolutely did, on the way we do things and travel and move around and security and everything else like that. So Can I just ask for a few moments of silence and just in respect and thought? Thank you. Okay, that's great. Thank you, everyone. I do appreciate that. All right, so good morning and good to see everyone. We'll give it another couple of minutes. I usually give it till about quarter after, so get everybody a chance to roll in. We got a good turnout this morning. We're sitting at 20, so wonderful. And I'll let anyone carry on if they want to share something else or talk to somebody. Or
Is
go ahead.
Igor on today?
I haven't seen Igor in the last month or so. I think he's been pretty busy. He's got a new job, and that. And I haven't really got an email. He's not into too much contesting right at this moment. So, no, I haven't seen him, Doug. But you never know. Maybe he will pop in. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm looking for one of the antenna specialists, like Igor or Steve Gorecki. I don't know who else out there is particularly keen on building antennas. If anybody else is.
Well, shoot your question if you have a question out. We've got a lot of experience online here.
All right. Well, the question is, well, I got my 2-meter my dual band antenna from my old apartment, and it's here. So I'm looking to put it up, and of course restrictions. Now I've got an old CB antenna. It's called an Antron 99, good from 10 to 12 meters. And of course, it's got a matching coil in it or some sort of matching system, right?
Okay.
And I was wondering, what's the difference between that and your automatic antenna tuner or manual antenna tuner, other than the length of coax that's feeding it?
Basically, you know, in order for an antenna tuner to do you any good, the antenna's got to be at least close. Okay. The antenna tuner can, usually an internal antenna tuner has a limited range as far as the antenna that it can match. An external one, you know, one that you've got, and a manual external one, you generally have more control over it and it will do a wider range. An automatic external antenna tuner can handle a wider range, but sometimes you have very little control. Like it'll get it close and you could probably tweak it, but it's really hard to do on an automatic one. So your best bet, you know, it's tuned for 11 meters, you know, so there is a good possibility it'll work the 10 meters, maybe the 12 meters, you know, something fairly close to it. You just have to see what the SWR is on those bands. But
Well,
you won't get anything else.
What I'm thinking of, Rusty, is that you know, we can all go to HRO or Radio World or some other outlet and purchase a vertical multi-band HF antenna.
Yes.
And really, it's the length of that antenna does not change at all. So if I've got a 22-foot long antenna, and those things are whatever length they are, they use some sort of matching systems within them to bring it resonant to the whatever frequency you're using. So why can't I just put my own matching system in a vertical antenna and get similar performance? Because I'm really trying to figure out a way to get something going here.
Yeah. Rusty's on the phone, so he just asked to stand by for a sec for his reply. But, well, there's nothing stopping you doing that, Doug. I mean, if you can put a vertical antenna and put the matching coils to the various, are you looking to do like from 80 down to 10 meters on Is it a full HF antenna you're looking at, or are you just looking at the
That's
top of the?
exactly right. That would be ideal, 80 to 10.
Okay.
But to be quite honest with you, I'd be happy with just 80 and 40. But you know,
Hmm.
the point is, there's no vertical in the world that's going to do 80 meters or 40 meters naturally with their length. So they've all got coils in them. So what's the difference if I put if I buy an antenna, or I put an automatic antenna tuner right at the base of the antenna, which has the coils in it, just like they would have coils if it was built into the antenna. I don't see any
A high gain R9, Doug, will do that because it has tuning stubs on it and it does 9 bands. You go like that. So like I say, and it's automatic and you'll find that it tunes, go like that. My 6 BTV, okay, on the 6 bands that it runs, I don't have to have a tuner in it. It'll actually tune, providing I'm at the resonant where I adjusted it for the resonant frequency there.
Well, the
And-
point is, I don't want to buy another antenna. If I've got a stick that's whatever feet it is, and I already have an automatic antenna tuner, why can't I just put the two together and rock and roll with that? Would there
Well,
be,
with
would
the
there be
length
a
you've got,
performance loss?
okay, the length you've got like that, now that depends on the coil that you're going to put on the bottom, and that's a loading coil. And okay, that'll have about 4 or 5 turns, and that'll give you the 50 ohms that the radio's looking for. And the rest of it will be the fake length.
Exactly. Well, I
Okay,
was thinking of
you have it.
taking the coils, the loading coil, and everything out of this antenna, and just letting the antenna tuner do it. So
No, it
basically
won't do
becomes
that.
the coil.
It won't
No, it
work.
won't work.
That won't work. You got to
All
have
the
that loading
antenna tuners
coil.
have coils in them.
Well, you got to have the loading coil. The loading coil on the bottom is probably, I don't know, 40, 45 turns. And you're going to use 3, 4, 5 of them to give you the 50 ohm. And that's where your cable coax goes on to the very bottom of that coil. The rest of that coil gives the artificial length for running 80 or 40 or whatever you're going to run. But it's really hard to 40 and up. You can usually get away with a whole lot better than when you start trying to do 80. 80 is going to be difficult for you. That's
Well,
for sure.
the question then is, what's the difference between putting a loading coil at the bottom of the antenna and using the loading coils or whatever's built into an antenna tuner?
Well, as Rusty pointed out, I think a little bit earlier to you, you have to get yourself within a 3 to 1, 4 to 1. I'm using an MFJ here that I like the manual because I had the 100 that I had, which was who was that? The LDG. Okay, and it was an automatic tuner. But the G5RV, there were many spots in that it wouldn't tune. It had hunted all over the darn place for it to go like that. So I went to a manual tuner, which is the 969. Okay, and it go like that. That thing there, I think that antenna could be lying on the ground. Even if you had 50 feet of coax out there, it would tune it. So with a manual tuner, you have very, very good control over what you're doing with that. But still, you need to have something that's reflecting that load back to you. And that's got to be that coil that's at the bottom. So MFJ makes one there. They call it, I think, what was it, a Texas bird cage or something like that, or whatever, or flycatcher or something. And that was a coil that I used in the apartment. And I still have that actually. And that's at the coil on the bottom. And then it has that telescoping antenna. I think you pull it out to about 18 feet. It's multi sections, and you keep pulling that out. And then that loading coil on the bottom, though, even without having the antenna on the top of it, would tune that coil. Okay, so I mean that's why you need that coil at the bottom end of it. And tuning 80 is going to be much more difficult than going 40 and up. Okay, so but it depends. If you want ONTARs and stuff, then you're going to have to be very specific in tuning that coil to get it to work on 80 meters.
Have I got a voice?
You do?
Yes, go ahead, Ted.
Oh,
Good
okay,
morning.
thanks. I wasn't sure if I want to. I had an Cushcraft AP8A vertical multi-band, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bands on it from 10 to 80. And the secret of that antenna, it was a good, well built, was the ground plane. If you can stick out radials half wavelength for each band, that improves the performance of the thing tremendously. I think that's the big secret of these verticals.
I think he said he was in an apartment though, so I don't think he can do that.
Well, you know,
I
I
sure
could
can't
actually
do
take
enough
a,
now.
I could take a spade and I could bury some wires, like lines of wires, underneath the sod a couple of inches. But they'd be kind of random lengths, you know. I would imagine the longer the better. I don't think any of them are going to come close to 40 or 80 meters long, but I don't know if MYK's there. I'm wondering how long.
With a tuner,
What's that?
If you can get 20-foot radials.
they'll suspect that a tuner would deal with that.
Oh, yeah, it'd be at least 20 foot, probably close to 50 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sorting all my stuff out here. Boy, do I have stuff. And I ran across a British article that I had photocopied years ago. I don't have a year on it. It's called Antenna Book number 3. It's from Britain, and it's testing the efficiency of mobile whips. And depending on where you place that whip, it can go to 100% efficiency at the center of the roof. I'm not sure if I believe that. Right down to 10%, depending on where you put it on the vehicle. I can scan this article and maybe send it to Rusty and he can distribute it. So if anybody's interested, maybe
I
Rusty
read
can
somewhere, depending on the location of your whip on your car or truck or whatever, that the center of the roof is the best, the most efficient spot.
I've
That's
always
ground
believed
plane.
that, yeah.
Oh,
You can lose 2 to 3 decibels by mounting it anywhere else, fenders or back of the trunk, that type of thing.
And what did your article say the efficiency was? Only 10% on a mobile?
Well, let's start at the top. Center of the roof is just a typical sedan, 100%. And again, I'm not sure if I believe that. The
And
front of
drop
the
it all the way
roof
down
drops
to a back bumper.
24%. And then offside front of the roof, above the windshield's pillar, 16%. And if you put it, just a few more here, I won't hog the airways here. Front wing at a certain millimeter distance from the base of the windscreen, 30%. Then it goes down from there, 24%. And rear wing at the base, 18%. And rear wing 200 millimeters from base of the rear window pillar, 13. And then it goes down rear wing 450 millimeters from the base of the rear window pillar down to 10%. And this is a semi-scientific paper I'm reading, so I guess I believe it. Maybe that's the little British
Somebody
cutters.
went to the trouble of doing the tests on their vehicle.
So Bob, on your $50,000 car, the first thing you do is drill a hole in the middle of it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's the
Exactly.
scary part, isn't it?
Actually,
did.
I was thinking of my $150,000 Ford, brand new Ford truck, right in the middle of the roof. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the experience was with all commercial safety vehicles. I mean, all our cruisers had, the holes drilled. I went to our communications transport branch many times to pick up new cruisers, and I'd be walking past bays of cruisers, and there'd be a guy in the middle of the roof, putting the roof racks in and the antennas and everything else like that. Because
But that's not your car.
no,
Exactly.
it's your car because it's the taxpayers' cars.
Belongs
but,
to the taxpayers.
yeah.
So
I
how
did
did
that's
you
what-
recycle that vehicle when it done its service?
Yeah,
Just plug the hole?
exactly.
Just so we could just
Yeah,
stop by
well,
the
they have
nearest
plugs
police
that go in
division.
them.
Al, we
was-
could just stop by the nearest police division and say, I would like to have my cruiser now, please.
Yeah, yeah,
Then I
exactly.
pay for it with taxes.
That was John. That was John, BB. He's down south. He had to make a quick trip for something. I'm not sure what it was, but he went to Sayal Electronics
Yeah.
for me down there, and he picked up a couple of things that I need. He's really saving my bacon here. And he called me. He was right in the store. And yeah, we walked through everything that I needed. I know everything's right. And he wasn't coming home till Sunday or Monday. Now he's coming home tomorrow night. So I'll be able to get my hands on the stuff Monday morning, which is going to be freaking wonderful. So he told me to say hello to everybody on Zoom this morning.
Excellent. That's good.
Well, regarding the drilling a hole in a brand new vehicle, you know, I look at it as whether you bought a $2,000 junker or a $150,000 sweet ride, you know, that's, you spent the money, it's yours, and you're customizing it to your likes, your loves, your desires, your hobby. You know, it's something you enjoy, and just because the rest of the world will look at you and go, oh my God, you know,
What did you do?
how could you do that? And you should be able to proudly look at
I
them and
used the
go,
drill.
Easy.
it's
So
what I
you can
like.
always
This is
plug it,
why
you
I
know.
bought it. Do you think I could buy a $150,000 vehicle with this already in there? No. You know,
no way.
I'm special. I did it myself. I had to
Yes.
do it for myself or whatever.
Doug,
You know, just be
Doug, you
proud
can
of the
always-
fact that you own it and you can do that.
They make a special plug that you know you can plug it up and it'll look good. It'll just be like a little plastic or black ring or something. And I got a little story for you here.
Absolutely, especially for the NMO mounts. A little
My,
bit harder with the PL259s, but
Nah, print one on a 3D printer, buddy. Now listen, my cousin David, he was a nut bar. He's passed away, but he was a nut bar. He was trying to put a CB antenna on in his truck, and he kept breaking drill bits. So he whipped out his 38 special and went bang in the roof, and it was a perfect size hole. It was awesome. We couldn't hear for a little while, but it was perfect. So
Mexican speed drill.
there you go. That's it. Or American speed drill. American speed drill.
When
You
you're
know how they
talking
love their
about
guns.
vehicles with all kinds of antennas on them. I remember gallons per minute was up at Mendemoya one time, and my God, his car looked like a damn old porcupine.
Oh yeah,
But
ask
you're
Al.
not
Ask Al.
meant
He gets stopped at the border all the time. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
to- Did he ever get out good?
Well, all you have to do is go to Dayton and just walk the parking lot of Dayton.
You don't
And if
even
you
need to go
think
in.
your antenna is weird and wonderful, absolutely not. I mean, we've seen
You'll fit
cars
right in.
and vans. I mean, people have put rotators on the top of their roofs to put horizontal beams that they're driving down the highway with a beam, and they can turn the rotor on the top of their van.
You think Al's vehicle or my vehicle looks like a porcupine? They had this, oh my God, this car, he drove it from Missouri to Dayton, I think, every friggin' year. And it was some kind of a little shit hauler, pardon my French. And all the equipment, there wasn't an inch on there that didn't have an antenna on it. And inside of it, there wasn't an inch that didn't have some kind of a stack of radios going there. And he had tens of thousands of dollars worth of crap on a $1,000 US shit hauler that was lucky to make it to Dayton.
well, that's
Yeah.
why he couldn't afford a decent car.
Oh
More
yeah,
like He
yeah.
wasn't married.
Probably not. I would say that's a safe bet. Yeah.
What you didn't know, Rusty, was that he replaced the engine every year, so just so he could go to Dayton.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't surprise me.
I would like to know how they interacted with each other.
I'm not too sure about walking the parking lot. Last time I tried that, they were going to arrest me.
Oh. And
There
one
you go.
year at the Hera Arena, the sewers backed up, and there was a great big river of sewage running through the parking lot too. So you had to
Yeah.
make sure you had your hip waders on. So
Oh, boy.
Wonderful.
Yeah, not the greatest, eh?
no. Oh my
Anyway.
God, there's Ted. Good morning, Ted.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Hi there.
Ted's been with us
Good to
for quite
see
a
ya.
while.
You too. I don't
Yeah.
know if you heard me, but I've got an article here you may want to distribute to the folks. It's about testing the efficiency of mobile whips. And it's a semi-scientific thing. It's a British article out of a magazine that's called Antenna Book. I have no idea of the book or the year.
ARRL does an antenna.
Efficiencies, where to place the mobile antenna. I'm
Wonderful.
presuming they're talking about 2 meters. Anyway, can I send this on to you? Do a scan?
Yes, please.
Okay. The other thing I have in my little mind is it possible, I've done it in VHF, have a capacitive coupling through glass?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I've got a couple of brand new glass mount 2 meter antennas. Most of the time, those things are supposed to be unity, you know, no gain. On the package, these say 3 dB. So I would take that with a grain of salt, but you know, and they are strictly, I think it's a dual band, so it'd be UHF and VHF. I've never seen it done on HF. In theory, it would be possible, but the glass would have to be damn thick and strong to hold any kind of HF antenna.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious whether, you know, if anybody who's done it on HF.
Well, in theory, it should work. In theory, it should work, and maybe HF might have an easier time getting through the glass. You know, if you could support the antenna and not depend on the glass, I'm sure the coupling part would work. You know, a little research. Well, that's, you know, shit, you're a ham. Try it. I've got a 2 meter antenna. I've got a couple of dual band antennas here. I'll give you one to Hackintosh it, see what happens.
Well, I've got a lot of magnetic 2 meter stuff. No, the other question was, this is to go into the house. I didn't want to drill any holes into it.
Well, no, so there you go. You'll just have a connector on both sides of it. You know,
Right.
so
double pane.
No, well, you know, try it. You might lose a little or something.
See, some of the problem with some of these windows, you know, with the ultraviolet protections, I know there's some type of lead or something to that nature that's mixed in with the glass, so that may have characteristics issues. So yeah, as Rusty said, give it a try, Ted, and see what happens with it.
Because I've got, you know, I don't want to give up both of them, but I've got 2 brand new ones in a package here.
At the very least, it'll have a built-in attenuator.
Well, I've actually been,
you know what? It wouldn't be that
investigating.
big of a deal. Listen. Okay, so say you lose a little bit, your antenna is going to make up for it. Okay, it's not like the antenna is mounted to the other side of it. Like, you know, it's just going to be a coupling. So, you know, sure, if there's a little loss in there, big freaking whoop, you know, you've got a signal outside without drilling a hole.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yep.
Get a passive reaction.
And there is also devices there that, depending on the type of window that you have, Ted, there's window couplings that you can put in or close the window on it. And there's a very thin wire type aluminum strip that will go in just about any door jamb or whether it's sliding door, crank open, whatever you've got. And on the outside, it's got an SO239. On the inside, it's got an SO239. So that way you're not drilling any door frames or window frames or holes in the wall or anything.
Or you can do the ever popular board, you know, close the window on a board. I think I mentioned that to you the other day. You just have a appropriate size board and paint it white or whatever the trim is around it and drill a couple of holes in it and put whatever connector, like if you need a, you know, they make SO239, you know, bulkhead connectors or whatever, and you just put that sucker in there, close the window on it. Now you'll have to, in order to secure the window, you might have to put a little rod, you know, in the track or whatever, so it can't be slid or whatever, but, you know, and then again, no holes, no black voodoo magic going on with the coupling, and you can make one in your, you know, you've got the stuff to do it in your junk box, or I do. So you know.
That's wonderful, Rusty, except I have a problem in that regard. I ran it through the better half and it was nixed, vetoed, squashed.
Okay. Well, Al's idea, you know, he had one or two at one time, and it's just, yeah, it's like braid or whatever, flat, and you put it in the window and close the window on it. It's got a connector on both sides.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Bob's your uncle.
They
As
got
long as the
metal frames.
homeowners association that Ted has agrees with it.
Well, you know, it's you're way better off to ask for forgiveness than permission usually. Just do it and see what happens.
Oh, sometimes there's no forgiveness.
Yeah, well, you
Here's
know,
a piece of
but-
styrofoam.
yeah.
Here's a piece of styrofoam. But
Has
you're
it got
in,
metal frame?
you're in deep water and you start to capacitive loading a low band antenna into through a piece of glass. There's no doubt about that. Get your antenna book out. You're deep paddling, fella.
But I do like Al's idea.
I've got to switch my speakers around. It's coming out the computer and I can't hear, so I'll be right back.
But has it got metal window frames or the wooden
It's the
PVC?
wooden vinyl, and there's sliding windows as well. These
Yeah,
things
okay.
they're about
I think you got to worry that as long as they're not tinted windows of any sort, you're on the road to goodness. But if there's any tint in them, you've got problems.
yeah.
Ted,
Yeah,
if you have,
potential problems.
how far above the ground is your window that you want to run the antenna leads through?
4 feet max. The
Oh,
bottom
well,
of the window.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You can put your lightning arresters
So-
down at the ground level.
Yeah.
I've
So
got
here
a
it is.
board.
So here it is here, Ted. If you can see this, this is what
Yes.
the device looks like. If you haven't seen that, this is a very thin, flat, and you'll see the center. It's not a very good picture here with it, but I couldn't. But this is what it looks like. It's got two little boxes with the SO239 connector on it. Now they're not cheap. They're $70 here. This is from DX Engineering.
Yeah.
But what you do is you put one outside and one inside, and you slide the window down on that and it will concave to whatever fittings you've got in your window. And no water, no air, nothing gets through. It doesn't damage the weather stripping or anything on it. It slides down, locks onto it, and then you screw and seal your connector on the outside, of course, and then you run from your radio to the SO239 or to an antenna switch, and away you go.
That's
I have
how it
one of those.
I think I picked something like that up from Frank. I don't know. I think he's online here, and he could maybe provide an opinion on that. I got something from Radio World for him, similar.
Yeah.
They do work. I
Yes,
got one of
that-
those, but they won't
did
work near
that.
a metal frame. That's all.
I did get you to get me some of those, Doug, and they work very well. Actually, I was using them for many years out my window because the wife didn't want me to drill any holes into the walls. So